안녕하십니까. 여기는 미국 로스앤젤레스 LAPD, LA 경찰국 앞입니다. 네, 제 뒤에는 미국 주류 방송 텔레비전 중계차들이 나와 있습니다. 통신은 TV 중계차는 없습니다. 어쨌든 오늘 며칠 동안 세계를 시끄럽게 했던 경찰관 살해 사건, 크리스토퍼 도너 사건에 관련해서 오늘 LAPD 국장, 찰리 국장이 긴급 뉴스 브리핑을 한다고 합니다. 그래서 오늘 10일 오전 9시 본 기자가 현장에 달려와 있습니다. 자, 찰리 국장이 어떤 말을 할 것인지 수사 과정에 새로운 업데이트가 된 사실과 하니까 들어보겠습니다. 네.
Definitely, man.
Again? Again? It's on mic. What do you have?
Later on, who's going to be later? I'll let the chief know. Good morning. You guys good to go? Anybody need more time? I know I've delayed you enough. First of all, thank you for being here. You know, there's still a tremendous amount of interest regarding the Dorner investigation, and I wanted to clarify a couple of things that are ongoing with the Los Angeles Police Department. I wanted to talk a little bit about our victims. I wanted to talk a little bit about the reward, and I also wanted to talk about the re-examination of the investigation, where that sits. And then we've had intense media interest from most of you about some of our victim families, some of the 50-plus families who the LAPD had to protect due to Dorner's threat. So I have with me one of those families, the Tingarides family, and I'm going to introduce them to you in a minute and let you talk to them. And I will also take some questions. But before we do that, I think it's really important that we put this in perspective. And even though much of this is about the discussion of Christopher Dorner, we have to remember the victims. Monica Kwan, daughter of a close friend of mine, LAPD Captain Randy Kwan. Monica went to school with my kids in Longwood. A wonderful young lady. Keith Lawrence, brand new public safety officer at the University of Southern California. Brand new. Life just beginning. Michael Crane, we laid to rest this past week from Riverside Police Department. Jeremiah McKay, who will lay to rest Thursday from San Bernardino County Police Department. Pardon me, Sheriff, my mistake. Then I think sometimes we forget about our surviving victims. 2 LAPD officers assigned to Newton Division, who were the first to engage Dorner in Corona. Both of them narrowly escaped death. One of them hospitalized due to traumatic injuries caused by Dorner's assault weapon. Riverside PD officer, partner officer, narrowly escaped death, not too far from there that same night. And another San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputy who will be reminded of this incident for years as he goes through reconstructive surgery after reconstructive surgery to heal his wounds. And then you're going to get a chance to hear from some other people that I think you have to realize that are victims. Yes, we're police officers. We all sign up for some degree of risk. Our families don't sign up for that. Our children don't sign up for that. And so these 50 families, 50-plus families actually that we protected, think about their children. Now mine are a little older. They're police officers. They can deal with this. But young kids, pulled out of school, life changes, things that they don't understand, serious issues. So the police department, in part of healing from all this, is making our behavioral sciences psychologists available to all these families. We're trying to work through so that the kids can have some sense of normalcy, some sense of security. I think sometimes we forget about them. And they'll be impacted by this forever. I'd also like to thank the other law enforcement agencies that were involved. All agencies in Southern California had a part of this, and we worked seamlessly together. I particularly want to talk about San Bernardino County Sheriff's, Irvine Police Department, Riverside Police Department, the FBI, and the U.S. Marshals, all of whom dealt with crimes committed by Dorner or assisted in the manhunt. These are agencies and the officers are true professionals. I'm proud to work shoulder to shoulder with them, and I couldn't be more pleased with the cooperation that this region showed in the Dorner investigation. Now, Dorner raised many issues in his manifesto, widely reported by most of you. As I've told you, we will take a re-examination of these issues. Mr. Chalif, my Special Assistant for Constitutional Policing, nationally renowned attorney, former defense attorney, handled some of the most high-profile cases in the history of Los Angeles, has been with the police department, did the MacArthur Park investigation that was so widely acclaimed. He's been working nonstop for the past 3 days on his review of the investigation. When his review is complete, that review will be made public. But first, it will be looked at by our Inspector General, Alex Bustamante, and it'll go through our police commission, not only for their review, but for the public comment that is awarded during police commission meetings, and also for the public agenda, so that everybody can see the transparency with which we will address this. Now, it's too early for me to comment on how that review is going, but suffice it to say, I not only have great confidence in Mr. Chalif, but I know that the police commission, members of whom you are all well familiar with, will do what's right with this. And so will the Los Angeles Police Department. Just a brief update on the status of the reward. Not only is this reward the largest in local law enforcement history, it's also the most complicated. Over 31 donors were involved in the posting of over $1 million. Many of them municipalities that have various rules that govern the issuance of their rewards. So we put together a collaboration led by my Chief of Detectives, Kirk Albanese, to review the investigation as it comes from the sheriffs and Riverside PD and make recommendations on who the reward should be given to, whether it's all to one individual or split among several. That recommendation will come through to me, and we will meet with the individuals involved and ensure that the reward is fairly and equitably distributed. It is my desire that the reward money be used. We generated countless tips because of it. It had its desired effect. It should be paid out. But it has to be done fairly. It has to be done according to the rules that govern these things. And so we'll make sure that that gets done. You know, what I'd like to do, before I talk a little bit about Phil and Amada readings, is give you an opportunity to ask a few questions. I know that
we continue the re-examination of this case.
For the same exact reason that it was important in the first place. You know, Christopher Dorner's life or death has nothing to do with the re-examination. You know, I worry, and I have worked very hard, as have the 13,000 members of this police department, at improving community relations, especially race relations in Los Angeles. And so I want to make sure that we address his allegations, which have become so public, in a public way. And I want people to have confidence in not only in what the police department does, but in that the police department does what it says it does.
Chief,
When this one's I'll refute that, including critics of the department, people who've been involved in litigation, like Connie Rice and Sergeant Wayne Miller. Are you concerned, though, that given the extent to which, at least for a time, you became something of an iconic figure, a folk hero to some people, that there's going to be a lingering impact, a negative impact?
That's something we're going to have to work through. You know, I don't, for a minute, discount the effect that Dorner's manifesto has had on the reputation of Los Angeles Police Department. Now, I do not believe that is justified. But, and this is a big caveat, it needs to be addressed. You know, we are only as good as the public thinks we are.
Relationship between the LAPD and especially the African American community has already been damaged, that you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
Well, I think there is some level that it has occurred on some level. You know, do I think that I can't work through this? That I taking fire from high-powered assault-type weapons? You know, Dorner was well known by law enforcement to have in his possession those kind of weapons, and it was made evident by not only the longer Dorner was able to maintain such aggressive resistance, the more risk the deputies surrounding you.
Kim, is there any evidence? Thanks. Is there any evidence that Dorner visited the homes of some of the protectees?
Well, we believe.
Chief, regarding your reward fund, if we might conceivably get it, you'd express a desire that that fund be paid out, and the chief out needs to look at it. We might be, in line for that reward. And how long before Riverside and or San Bernardino County will be able to give you their determinations on how many people they feel contributed by tips information that positively led to Dorner's identification and eventual demise?